Bet you didn't know that there are children in jail sometimes. There's actually a program called the Mother-Child Program. It's been around for a really long time. And the point of it is to unite children with their mothers who are incarcerated.
It looks like any other nursery. There's a crib, a changing table, even storybooks. But this baby's room is behind bars, where moms and babies can live together until the child is 5.
This isn't a video that's about that program. I'm not taking aim saying cancel it or don't cancel it or anything like that. What I'm talking about is the fact that where these programs exist, the jails in which they exist, also house sex offenders and killers, sometimes sex offenders who are killers. In fact, today we're going to talk about one sex offender killer named Terry Lynn McClintic.
It's just a grainy shot from a single camera, but today it gripped and horrified a courtroom in London, Ontario. Because what that camera captured 3 years ago is a chilling interrogation. The video shows Terry Lynn McClintic recounting in disturbing detail the murder of 8-year-old Tori Stafford. Claims that contradict what McClintic is telling the jury about the man now on trial, her former boyfriend, Michael Rafferty.
So I was actually touring jails like I often do, and this jail was similar to every other jail. It was a woman's jail. When you walk around, again, it kind of feels like I wouldn't call this one feeling like a university setting, more like a townhouse complex. There are over a dozen kind of apartment style or townhouse style buildings. The first thing I did, they said, "Hey, do you want to go into this house here?" I said, "Sure." And they said, "This is where we have the Mother-Child Program." Oh, Mother-Child Program. Okay, that's been around for a while. I go in and I'm greeted by somebody walking out and there are children inside. So I go in and I say hello to a couple of young children. And then I walk out, think nothing of it. And I'm walking around and I see somebody about a half hour later. Somebody says to me, "Oh, do you know who that was?" And I said, "No." And they said, "That was Terry Lynn McClintic. She's doing a life sentence for first-degree murder for killing Tori Stafford." For those of you who don't know, Tori Stafford she was a young child in elementary school, and she was lured away by Terry Lynn McClintic and brought to Terry Lynn McClintic's boyfriend then, Michael Rafferty. Terry Lynn McClintic and Michael Rafferty are now both serving first-degree murder sentences. Awful case. So the first thing that enters my mind is this. Terry Lynn McClintic is serving a life sentence. She is a sexual offender and a murderer. And yet, she's in jail with access to children. Terry Lynn McClintic lives in the house next door to the Mother-Child Program. So it's not even like somebody at corrections said, this is a really bad idea to have a sex offender there. Maybe we should actually separate them, like make them not proximate to one another. Or maybe we should have a fence around the home where the Mother-Child Program comes in. Like, nobody thought about this. And this is just one sexual offender, one killer we know about. How many other lifers are out there doing this? How many other sexual offenders are doing this? How many other sexual offenders are gawking at those kids? And I'm not saying this to be sensational. This is what they do. They're sex offenders. It's absolutely disgusting to think about it. And corrections can't even put up a fence around one of these townhouse units, put some slits in the chain link fence so people can't look at children. This is mind-blowingly ridiculous. Ann Kelly, where are you on this? Dominic LeBlanc, Minister of Public Safety, where the hell are you on this? I've actually been told stories, incredible ones at that, of sex offenders holding babies. And you know what? They weren't even disciplined. And the reason they weren't disciplined, according to one officer, was because that sex offender wasn't targeting young children in their offending. Absolutely disgusting. Every Canadian should be outraged. As I'm recording this, I'm feeling more and more outraged, not just as a father, but as a taxpayer. Somebody who funds this. Terry Lynn McClintic, any sex offender, they should be moved from that jail immediately. And I want to be really clear here. What we're talking about today We're not talking about the mother-child program. We're not talking about the efficacy of that program. We're talking about sex offenders not being able to see, not being able to access, not being able to watch children in jail. This isn't really a big ask. Keep sex offenders away from kids. We do that on the street, by the way. As a parole officer, the expectation I had when I had somebody who was a sexual offender, particularly offenses against children, pedophiles, the first thing we did was review their access to kids. That's their victim pool. Those are the people who could be offended against. And not only are they the people who could be offended against, they're the most vulnerable. There's a reason why we treat sexual offenses against children so seriously. And let's not forget that this government has never addressed a mandatory minimum when it comes to sexual offenses against children. They haven't.
The women are usually running around here, sitting at picnic tables like this and hanging out on the benches. It really doesn't feel like a prison in many respects. I mean, yes, there are security features and barbed wires and you have to go through screening to get in, but I didn't expect the inmates to have this level of freedom, even in the medium security area, where you see them, wearing the clothes that they choose, walking around, they're making whatever meals they choose because they're in charge of their groceries and what they're about to eat. I thought there'd be a lot more barbed wire and a lot less white picket fences and picnic tables and flowers and gardens. I really didn't expect to see Muskoka chairs here.
And in fact, you can serve your sentence from home on house arrest for a sexual offense against kids. This is a government that is completely unserious when it comes to dealing with sexual offenses against children, when it comes to preventing sexual offenses against children, when it comes to dealing with them at sentencing, and when it comes to dealing with them behind bars. It's unbelievable. It has to stop.